Welcome to the Heart to Heartland podcast. Here are your hosts.
Oh my gosh, welcome back to another episode of Heart to Heartland. I'm Isabelle, and here is my partner in crime. It's been a crazy week, but we have a lot of updates for you. We are filming this at a different time, as you'll
Mm.
obviously tell as we get the episode going.
Yeah, because we filmed what you're about to see later last week because of
Right.
reasons. We're doing the update portion, so you're all caught up with the latest update.
Yeah, right. So that's
So-
what's happening.
Yeah, and the later part of the episode is already edited, and that's like an hour long. So I'm just gonna keep this going rapid fire. Amber has a new dog called Rain. And
Yes, and it's funny because she even said it too that Rain's a female, I believe, reminds her so much of China, and that's what I thought too.
And she was supposed to, I think, foster her for a moment, but you know how it is.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's Andrew Marshall. We all knew where that was
exactly.
going.
It's like you're not gonna give her a dog and be like.
This is coming from the woman who literally brought a miniature horse inside her house. to surprise her husband. Like, of course she's keeping this dog.
But apparently she's brought her to the set and getting her used to kind of like normal situations,
right?
And, different people and places. And then if you're in Australia, season 14 DVD is coming out on 3rd of November this year.
Interesting.
And that's the first official DVD that's coming out anywhere. If you're seeing something else somewhere else,
it's probably incorrect.
Yeah, it's a bootleg or whatever you call them.
Cash grab something, yeah.
Yeah. So, just know that if you're like, oh, it's already out.
And remember that there's different regions, so it might be coming out in Australia, but it won't necessarily work here, so.
Yeah, so check that out first before you're like, oh, gotta get that. And then, of course, after last week episodes, the biggest news of this season, I don't know, breaks.
Have we not talked about that?
No, because we filmed the latest episode in Tuesday, and this happened on Thursday.
We're talking about the new Katie.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yes. So that has been confirmed.
Yeah, as we predicted, and so many of you as well, there's a new Katie in town.
Literally.
Yeah.
So, just my quick thoughts here. She does look a lot like Gabe, so that's great. The only and I feel like she fits in well, and so far so good. But it's just the fact that she grew like 5 feet.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting if they're even trying to kind of ease in with it.
Like they did with Zia. Remember how they just kind of she just showed up and showed a glimpse of her, and that was it, kind of, just to ease everyone into the new Katie.
Yeah, and I think back when Julia had her first episode, it was like, her hugging Amy, and that was kind of it. It was season 8 premiere episode. Like Amy came back from Europe, and then
no
one was there, and then the family came back, and then they hugged, and it was just very brief, but
okay, this is good. I'm excited. I mean, there's nothing we can do about it. It's already been filmed. They've already casted. So I'm excited. I mean, they've done really well with casting the multiple Katies that they have. So, fingers crossed.
Yeah, and it's always been I don't know if I'm okay with this whenever a new cast member is, but then you get used to it, and it's
well, it reminds me of the Jessie when they replaced Jessie, and I mean, sure, that was fun, but I just thought it was so weird.
Yeah,
out of all the people to bring back and recast, I don't know.
I mean, they must have been so eager to do it that they're like, okay, well, the original, Jessie isn't coming back, so I guess we're using a new one.
Right.
And in case you didn't see the blog post where they officially announced the casting. The new Katie is played by, I'm sorry, by the way, in advance if I'm saying the name wrong, Bea?
I don't know if it's Bay or Bea. I don't
Because
know.
it's like Baye.
Maybe I think it's just Bay, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Bae.
I don't know.
Well,
Anyways, we apologize.
yeah, and whenever they're gonna like talk about her in some, I don't
Right.
know,
Hopefully
video or
we'll-
something,
Yeah.
we're like, okay, yeah, that's how you say
There hasn't been a video, just lots of people have posted about it.
Yeah.
So obviously they've kept this a secret for a while because she's been on set for a while.
Yeah.
So I wonder why they waited so long to announce it.
Yeah. Like they're able to keep some things under their wraps,
Right.
it seems,
It
but
doesn't
like,
make sense. They leak the important stuff, but then like the small stuff like the new Katie is like surprise, and it's like, okay, but
Yeah.
we kind of already guessed that.
yeah. And then as many Albertas probably know, the Rosies are coming up, which is like
Right.
this Alberta Film and Television Awards show. And you know, over the years Heartland has been nominated for different categories, and
Yeah, countless categories. It's
yeah,
impressive.
this year is no exception because they are nominated in 6 categories.
Oh my god.
Yeah, best scripted series or miniseries, Heartland, obviously. Then best director, scripted over 30 minutes, Dean Bennett for Staying the Course. And then the last episode of season 14.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then Ken Filewich for The Last Goodbye. So the second episode of that.
What was in the second episode? I'm trying to think. Okay.
Yeah, it was
trying to think
you know,
what
Amy
episode.
saying goodbye to Ty, you know, the tea scene from the kitchen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Stuff
yeah.
like that.
Okay.
Then best performance by an Alberta actor, Sean Johnston for Keep Me in Your Heart, and best performance by an Alberta actress, Amber Marshall, for the same episode. So that's season 14 premiere, which is
if she's ever deserved to win this award, it would be for this episode.
I
or
think
the whole season.
You know, for them both, like hands down, like one of their strongest performances ever.
I can't, like, that episode especially, you and I agree on this, it just felt more like Heartland than it ever has in a very long time. So if any episode in particular and cast performances that deserve to be recognized, it would be that episode.
Yeah, so I'm like
100%.
really hoping they win that one at least. Both of them.
Yep.
And then best cinematographer, scripted over 30 minutes, Jarrett Gregg for Through the Smoke, which is the 4th episode of season 14.
That's good. That's brilliant. Yeah. I think it's also well deserved. And
then best editor, scripted over 30 minutes, Jerry Skibinski for the same episode, Through the Smoke. And then Ken Filewich for Staying the Course, which is the season finale.
Okay, please don't tell me that one episode that he got nominated for was the really bad edit of Graham. Do you remember?
It was
like the green screen.
I want to say 3rd episode.
Okay, I was gonna say they better
not so not nominated. Okay. Yeah. And in case you're a podcast listener, I don't know, like you might be interested to know that Rave It Up, the Australian podcast that has had most of the cast featured, has a new episode out with Kevin. He didn't exactly like talk about if he's still on the show, but he did talk about the cast members a lot, and you know, his memories with auditioning for the show. So he had it was funny podcast, I would say, because you know, he has that way of being like really laid back and kind of like,
he is very laid back.
Yeah,
he's also quiet too. He's just kind of like a chill dude.
Yeah, and he's really funny in the way he has that like
kind of like a dry humor. Like he just doesn't even. Yeah.
and I just think there were a lot of things that I personally learned about him by listening. Like he talks about his dad, and there were a lot of sweet moments because
that's wonderful.
Yeah, they talked about Gabe's dad and him acting with children a lot, it seems, and
okay.
the way
So
he
does
got
have
started.
a lot with kids, especially on Heartland too.
Yeah, so I would recommend it. Like, it doesn't give any spoilers away, I would say, but like, I think it was one of the best interviews at this point. Yeah. And then at this point, as we're filming this, I believe they have 10 days left of filming. So by the time you're listening this, it's like less than that.
Oh my God.
So this week they wrapped up at the ranch location for this season. So by now they're filmed everything they need for this season at the Dude Ranch, and then
they wrapped at the Dude Ranch too, right? Okay.
Yeah, so it's winding down.
And like I always try to savor these moments like this is the last time, as if it's the last time, because we don't know. Like what was it, yesterday, or was it the day before? Was it yesterday when they said that was the last day of filming at the ranch, or was it the day before?
Yesterday, I think so. Like,
right, because
yesterday.
Yeah, and it's just like it's just like this could be the last time ever.
Yeah,
we don't want to think like that, but you don't know.
Yeah, but I'm always hanging on to those like little like when Wayne Pels posted the picture of the ranch, he didn't say for good or forever.
No,
he said something like for the
season.
Yeah. So
which is I mean there's a really good chance. I mean it's gone this far, who knows, but
yeah,
I like to savor these moments.
Yeah, because I don't know what I'll do if it's the last.
No, I know, we're gonna have to like actually get a life after this.
I don't know what that is, but it sounds scary.
I know, me neither. It does, it sounds terrifying.
Yeah, so don't do that to us, please.
Yeah, please just keep going until we're dead, and then you can quit the show.
Yeah. Before we go into the actual episode, I would like to remind that you follow us on Instagram, H2HL podcast, because we're planning some fun stuff there, and there's always something extra there. And like I just posted this video from us canoeing from 3 years ago.
Yesterday. Or was it yesterday?
Yeah.
Sorry, my days are all messed up. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was a hot day. That was hot.
Yeah.
It was just so peaceful, and like I got over my fear of water.
Yeah. So in case you're like
almost got stuck in the sand because we kept at this point we were going so close to the shore. I was like, guys, I don't think we're moving anymore. I think we're stuck in the sand.
So in case you're like wondering like why is Isabelle freaking out in this video, and why because
I had such a major accident on the water in like 2017, so I've been like absolutely refused. Now I do, but it was like a year later that I saw you, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm going on water.
Yeah.
And it was kind of scary, but like it was fun. Like by the time it was over, I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, and you were safely sandwiched between me and my sister, so I would like to think that maybe that helped.
Well, you guys are like just so calm and chill about it. Like if there's only one person allowed to freak out, if there's more than one, it's just chaos. True. Someone has to be stable.
Yeah, we were like, it's gonna be okay. Like,
no, for sure, you totally have to. But like, okay, so you guys saw that my car is totaled. Now, it made me think about the fact that we've literally driven in my car through the mountains and stuff, and now it's dead.
Yeah, and by the way, in case someone isn't like up to date, like what happened, it wasn't your fault.
No.
So this is not to say anything about your driving skills or anything.
No, there was literally
No.
no one else on the road, and I was in the middle of nowhere. By the time you guys watch this or listen to this, I should be where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be in Alberta, and I should have been in Banff this week, but I got into a massive car accident. An elk jumped basically on my car. And I was like, "Ooh, elk!" And then it was like that. I just started screaming because I was just like, I'm just glad it was dead because I don't want to know there's an
Yeah.
animal suffering out there because of me.
Yeah, because
Yeah, then it got pretty scary because then I pulled over and I'm in literally the middle of nowhere. I was lucky that I had cell service so I could call 911. So I get out of my car and it is smoking a little and I'm like, and that's when I started to actually panic because I noticed between the smoke there was also all the fluids were dripping. So I was like, this car's about to explode. So I called 911 and I was like, hey guys. And they didn't know where I was. And they were like, are you faced north or south? And I was like,
I don't know.
huh? There's a tree there. There's a tree
There's
there.
a dead elk. I don't know,
Look for
like,
the dead elk on the side of the road
yeah.
and you'll find me. So they sent out these like the volunteer firefighters because they just sent out whoever was closest because I was literally in the middle of nowhere. And they had to disconnect all the wiring and batteries so that my car wouldn't explode. And then the paramedics showed up and I felt fine up until like I actually got into the ambulance and they're checking my vitals and they weren't good. They're like, your vitals aren't good. And I was like, oh, I feel fine. I'm fine. And out of nowhere, I had all this pain just shoot from my neck to my head and I couldn't, it was just really bad. And so then I had to go to multiple different hospitals because it wasn't getting better. I got transferred to lots of different hospitals for tests in case there was something up here that shouldn't be. So that's really not how I planned my trip to Alberta, but surprise, I'm supposed to be in Alberta and filming some cool stuff for the podcast.
I don't know who has put some kind of hex on you because, like,
No, I know, and I'm pretty sure that someone has. It gets better, guys. So I get to the closest hotel once I'm out of the hospital, thinking that I have insurance. Turns out I don't. Don't have insurance. So not only is my car totaled, I'm not getting any money for it. I'm not getting any money for this hotel that I have to stay at. I've been here for almost a week. Actually, not even. I have no car, and I'm probably never gonna get a car because insurance won't cover anything.
yeah, and you have a lot of stuff with you, so it's
Yes.
not like you can just like get out. And
I'm supposed to be there for quite a while because since it was such a long drive, I'm like, I'm not just gonna stay for a week and go back because this is a very long drive. So I brought a lot of stuff, like especially my equipment, my podcast equipment. Like I had to bring a lot of stuff because I'm gonna be here for a long time. So it really limited the options of how to get out of here. And when I say I'm in the middle of nowhere, I'm not joking. I'm not at all joking, and I exaggerate a lot. I'm in the middle of nowhere. The closest city or town is 3 hours away. That's how my vacation's going.
yeah, so relaxing. I mean,
Should be getting out of here tomorrow morning. And then got 12 more hours until I actually get to Alberta. And then we're supposed to be going to High River, which is another 5 hours. If we're actually going to make it there, I don't know. So at this point, I am supposed to be filming stuff for the podcast, and we had some cool stuff planned. But at this point, just keep your fingers crossed that everything goes well, and we will have some pretty cool content coming.
yeah.
I have vlogged this entire trip, and as long as I make it to High River, I will be vlogging the whole thing, and it will be uploaded to YouTube. And it's really good because I mean, besides the fact that I'm in pain and don't have a car, it's going to make for a really cool vlog because I've vlogged the whole thing from the accident to the ambulance to the hospital. So
Whatever title you choose, you have like
I know there's too many options.
3,000 options to choose a very clickbaity like title that's not even clickbait.
No, I know. It's like, what kind of title do you use for that? Because it's not even clickbait because it actually happens. Like, I hit an elk on my way to Heartland. Like, it's not even a joke.
Yeah.
Like, no.
it's gonna end up being something like my trip to Alberta. 'Cause
Or
you're
lack
like,
thereof. Yeah,
yeah,
I don't know, but it's I filmed the whole thing. There's even this, I'm gonna post them in my personal Snapchats and stuff too, so it's gonna be a pretty cool vlog, and I like cry like 3 times in it when I'm in the hospital, so you guys are gonna be really excited to see this vlog, trust me.
till then, enjoy the episode. Rest of the
Yes, please enjoy.
no,
I was about to do the closing, but I'm like, oh, this is just the
no. We've
this is
already
just
done
the
that,
update.
so
But anyways, and please enjoy these updates and enjoy the rest of the episode, and we will see you next week.
yep. So recently we had a follower of ours send us a message because we talked about this couple episodes ago, like how we've lived through the ups and downs between seasons and everything. They sent us a nice message, and I thought I would read it out loud because it's
Okay.
giving the other side of what we've
Yeah, I would
done.
love to hear this.
Yeah.
Please do.
Okay, so the username is HL Horses, and they said, "Okay, finally got around to watching the second part of your podcast from this weekend." So the Tammy
Part 2.
deep dive,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
I want to comment on the binging thing. I found Heartland right before season 9, so I binge watched all 8 seasons on YouTube in like 2 weeks. This
on
was
YouTube. Oh, that's a throwback.
I'm
Holy
gonna
shit.
talk about
Okay.
that later
Okay.
because yeah, today's topic. This was when I was 15 and had no job or anything, so I had the time to otherwise.
Relatable. Yeah.
I don't know how I would have. Anyway,
Yeah.
once I got into the show, I realized how important and fun the filming stuff was, and the behind the scenes stuff and stories of leaks and everything. Over the years, hearing you guys say stories of things that happened while filming or during the premiering season made me realize I missed all that fun stuff from binge watching it, even though I didn't really have a choice in that, which made me kind of sad, especially now. That's why I will always love the weekly episode format rather than having episodes drop all at once, because it's my absolute favorite thing to guess and anticipate and analyze and discuss episodes before the next one.
Yeah.
Literally one of my favorite things to do.
I agree. I agree. I feel like we're pretty fortunate to have discovered it when we did. And I feel bad for the people who haven't because it's been a lot of fun. But I feel like, so season 9, so this person has had a few seasons worth of like behind the scenes stuff, which is, and yeah, there's been quite a bit, especially season 10.
Yeah.
But better late than never, and at least the show's still going, so you get to experience it for a little while longer.
Yeah, I commented back that I'm glad that they're able to do that now because it's so much fun, and that's kind of this extra layer of entertainment on top of just watching the show.
But it's funny because any other show that I've ever watched, like, I prefer the full season. Like, especially with Yellowstone, I waited until season 3 was out so I could binge all 3. But that's just because I'm not as into any other show as I am Heartland in the good way.
Yeah, I was just
Heartland. So that's
watch you have like a Yellowstone podcast next week.
No kidding, right? So I understand where this person is coming from because when you end up binging the show that you end up loving as much as Heartland, it's like, dang, I really wish I could have been around for more.
Yeah.
But glad to have you here now.
Yeah, and for most other shows that I watch, I don't have that, like, maybe like interest in getting to know the actors or like where was this filmed or whatever. It's just like, yeah, I enjoy this. Fine.
It doesn't happen often. So when I like the 3 times I could think of that it's happened with a show or whatever, it's like it's special and you know you're not gonna find it.
Yeah.
With just anything.
Yeah. And speaking of watching episodes, today we thought we'd talk about the first episode of Heartland, which premiered in 2007. And so like way back. And when was the last time you actually watched the whole episode? Do you
Oh,
even
years,
remember? Yeah,
years. I
same.
couldn't even tell you. It's
I
been
mean,
forever.
for me, it has been years as well, but
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so after this scene comes that scene, and oh yeah, the
Yeah.
episode can end
Yeah.
because there's that scene, and that still hasn't happened, and
Well, there was something I had noticed because so I watched it on Netflix,
Mm.
and this has never happened to me before, but every time a scene would go to a next scene, like they would cut and go to another scene, right? Like it would go like fade into another scene or whatever.
Transition,
Yeah. The Heartland, how do I put this? Like the intro comes up.
huh?
Every scene that they transition into, they show a picture of Heartland and it says Heartland. And I was like, huh? I will literally show you right now on my phone. Where's my
What the
phone?
hell?
I know. And I was like, I do not. That was the number one thing I noticed. I'm like, has this always been there?
Yeah,
I'll
like,
show
what's the
you.
point of that? Is it like
I know. I
spend
was
more
wondering if
time
it,
watching Netflix or something? I don't know.
I was wondering if it's just like the first episode because obviously I haven't seen it in any other episode, but I'm going to I have it pulled up here. Let
Did
me find
Netflix play the credit scenes? Because usually it does with the first episode, but if you like binge watch, I think with some shows it automatically jumps. Like, you don't need to see this because you watch
basically
like 20 episodes by now. So.
previously on No.
Yeah, like
I could
I
tell you the
know.
previously
Yeah,
on.
like I just watched it like 5 minutes ago.
So end of the scene or almost transition. See? And then off to the next scene. Right?
Like, in case you forgot, this is Heartland you're watching.
This is the show you're watching. I know, and I can't. I think the last time I would have ever seen the premiere would have been on DVD, and that obviously isn't on the DVD. So I was so confused.
Yeah,
after every
scene. Like if you guys are listening this and have watched the show from Netflix, do you get the same weird thing happen?
Yeah, please tell me, because I'm gonna watch like the second episode or the third just to see if it does the same thing. But I watched the third episode a lot because it's the first Jack and Lisa episode, and I've never
surprise.
Yeah, right. I've never seen it, so I'm like, this is weird. It is weird.
Yeah, I watched the episode from DVD. And speaking of YouTube, like back when I started watching the less like 2012 or something.
Yeah.
I watched it from YouTube at first because I needed to see if I liked it at all, because I didn't want to like get too involved or spend money if I wouldn't like it. But then eventually I ended up buying the DVDs. But I remember watching this episode for the first time from YouTube, and it was very blurry and like all that. So I'll get later to this thing that I remember I didn't catch because of the poor quality of the video.
Right.
But now that I was watching from DVD, I've watched it from before, but I had kind of forgotten. I was like, wow, this is kind of high quality. This and I'm like, well, yeah.
Like Walmart versus Chanel or something.
Yeah. So that's how I got started. And back then they didn't show the show in Finland at all. There was no like Netflix or anything like that. So YouTube was kind of my gateway into Heartland. But a lot of old school fans will probably remember when someone always uploaded episodes on YouTube, and in case someone's
the OGs out there slaving away for us so that we could illegally watch it on YouTube.
Like
I live in Canada, right? So I could have like probably easily seen it on the CBC app, but there's ads. And so I would, especially season 6, I watched most of it on YouTube, and it would normally only be up for a couple days before, like, YouTube would take it down a lot
Yeah.
of the time, so.
So those fallen heroes, we salute you.
Respect.
Yeah. And in case anyone's wondering, like, why don't they just add them on YouTube? It's because
like copyright and stuff.
copyright issues, and it's CBC's show, so
Yeah.
they don't want to lose money because someone else is giving it away for free.
Right.
But that's how I got started with show, and now I own all the DVDs from season 1 to season 13.
Oh my god, I don't have season 13 on DVD. I can't find it though. They don't do that stuff in stores anymore. Like, they rarely have like DVDs in store, and I never go into stores, so
yeah. That's
it could be there for all I know, I guess.
Yeah, like, I think that's where the problem lies.
Stop. But like, I kept trying to order it on Amazon, but you know how it was like kept being like sold out, or it wasn't available or whatever.
Yeah.
Every time I tried to look, so I was like, whatever. And it's on Netflix, but that is like the one show Good Wife, that I collect the DVDs from.
Yeah, same.
$50. That's no. Why is it $50?
Yeah, like, what is it made of? Like gold?
What? Wait, is that the right season? Well, I guess.
I think so, because it had a Luke on it. Because season 14 hasn't come out, and Luke wasn't in season 12 cover. So
I'm trying to zoom in here and read if Jessica Steen's on the back of this, because for the last few seasons she has been, but I don't see her on this one. Boo.
So not worth it.
Oh my gosh. There's a bonus feature called Women on Heartland. I want to put my money down right now and say that they disclude Jessica.
I can look after this for you, because they have the extras. But yeah, I don't remember that they would have been very like focused on her. But it's been a while.
Look at this. The only actor on the show, according to Amazon, is Graham.
Wow, he's really versatile. With the wig on, damn.
Yeah, no kidding.
Do you remember how many times you have seen the episode, or
the premiere?
Yeah.
Holy, probably like back in the day, a lot, probably. I couldn't. Oh, it's been 15 years.
Yeah, I know. But like, I know that some people would have seen it. Some people keep rewatching and rewatching, but I think I've seen it like maybe say like 5 times or something.
Really? I was gonna guess like 10.
No, I mean, I think the first time from YouTube, then later from the DVD, then one time when I showed it to my friend, and I think then after that maybe a couple of times.
That's true. I have seen, because when I would make like my friends watch it and stuff, I would watch it with them. So I would say like 10 times for myself, because between me watching it like estimated 5 times on my own, and then all the other people I got to watch it, I'd probably say 10 times I've seen it.
Yeah, because I've made GIFs and taken screen caps and all that stuff, but I never like watch it
all the way through.
Yeah,
right.
Just like, okay, so this scene is after that scene. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
And but I think overall, like, obviously we know the episode really well, but I think overall it's a very strong first episode for a show.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, and the storyline, it does a really good job like explaining who these characters are and what's the kind of the vibe of the show, and what the future of the show might be.
Exactly.
It's interesting because I've read the books, and it's been a while, but I remember thinking like when I started to watch the show like way back, that part of it was kind of like, okay, I can kind of like, it's kind of like how I imagined, but a lot of it was like, no, this is not like it. Yeah, because there are like big changes from the book to the show. So
absolutely.
I remember the first episode being like, like I'm not really impressed, but I'll keep on watching.
Yeah. I remember thinking, because in the books you get more of Marion before she passes away.
Yeah. And
so when it opened up and she had 2 scenes and then died, I was like, I mean, okay. But at the same time, like, even to this day, I'm like, I really wish we could have even just had, I don't know, almost like a full episode with her, just to get to know her a little more, even though I feel like we do, obviously.
Yeah, that's one of the things I wrote down, that it's interesting that Marion's legacy is something that's, followed the show for these like 14 seasons.
Right.
Not always, but it's there, and
it's like almost built on her.
Yeah. And we only see her for like, I don't know, 4 minutes.
No, really, that's basically it.
So it's kind of incredible that she's such an important character, and at the end of the day, not really there that much.
Yeah, no, you could argue that she's like the reason that there was a show, because if it wasn't for her death and her legacy, there wouldn't really be a show. Because if you think about it, like, what would the show look like if Marion was alive and on the show?
Yeah, it would have been total different.
Yeah. I think about that a lot, though. I wonder.
And I love that they've kept, bringing her up, because, any other show would have been like, well, we're kind of done with her. Yeah. Like, she did what she was meant to do, but it's nice that they still keep her around through
through Amy almost.
Because it's realistic that way, because it's Amy and Lou's mom, and Jack's daughter, and Tim's ex-wife, and like, she touched a lot of people, and she's kind of the reason Ty was there in the first place. Like,
literally,
there wouldn't be any Lindy, and who knows if Georgie, because Lou would have gone back to New York, and
she would have like, let's say they get into a car accident, but they both live, whatever, Lou goes back to New York. And like, nothing changes. But I found it interesting that for the premiere, what I look for in a premiere, and I think what anyone looks for in a premiere of a show, is something that keeps them holding on to it and wanting to see more of it. And so I feel like the main character's death was exactly that. You wanted to see what was going to happen now that this person had died, which you could tell is a pivotal character, even though we saw her for 4 minutes. So I feel like the directing on that and the writing was, like you talked about, was very well done.
Yeah, and I know that they had the books to kind of lean on, but I think they adapted the story well to the Western, lifestyle and kind of that atmosphere. And to me, that was part of the reason why I even, I was drawn into the show, because I wrote down that it's a classic horse story with the girl and the horse, but at the same time, I would argue that it's very different from most horror stories, with English writing and like those gossip girls from the stable, and like all that. Even though there were those elements like Ashley and Amy and rivalry and all that,
pretty typical.
But I think it wasn't still too cliche.
It wasn't too cheesy either, because that's something, like, when it makes me cringe, I'm like, okay, I gotta stop, because there's some episodes and some moments that I'm like, okay, this is a little too cheesy. But
and I think I wrote down that the acting overall is pretty good when you take into consider that this is the first time they've met. I mean, I think I remember Michelle saying that she kind of got to meet Sean on the first day they started shooting, and Sean said something like, "That's our Lou." And then they started filming the hospital scene where they go to see Amy. And so to imagine that you're kind of like a family, but not at all.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole thing of acting, and that's how you know they're pretty good
Yeah.
at it too. Because I felt the chemistry.
Mm.
Because when you get farther into the show, the chemistry you feel, in my opinion, was already there in the premiere. I felt like it was done very well.
Mm.
Like, you knew they were a family, and you knew, they were close, and you kind of, like you said, you get the general idea of who these characters are.
Yeah.
And I felt like the Heartland chemistry was there right from the start.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that the cast has been consistent, like,
Mhm.
throughout the show. Like,
Yeah, for the most
it
part.
would have been harmful for the show if, like, let's say Michelle would have been like, okay, 3 seasons, that's it.
Right.
Because it's about this family, I feel, even though it's,
and watching them
yeah,
growing with them, and
even though, Amy is a lot in the center, but like overall, I think it's about these family ties. But about the acting and like the family element, I think it's also kind of good that they have these, like, what's the word, like, tension, because Lou has gone to New York, and
yeah, there is a
Amy
bit of
has
tension.
just been in an accident, and Marion's dead, and so it kind of worked to their favor in a way that they wouldn't necessarily have to be all, come on here,
Right.
sister, like,
That is true. And you know what? If I could ask writers, creators, whatever, anything about this episode, I'd really like to know why they decided to cut Marion out.
Yeah, because
of the storyline and have her killed off in the first 5 minutes instead of getting to know the character more. Like, I'm very, because in the books that's what happened, and obviously you and I both read the book, so then you watch the show and it's like, okay, I know that this happened, but it didn't happen yet.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to know.
Yeah, and I remember Lisa Langlois, who played Marion,
Yep.
having that one interview where she said that she was kind of sad because when she was offered the role, they said that, you're going to be featured throughout the whole first season, I guess through flashbacks and stuff like that. So that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like season 1 as it is, but it's just like, that would have been really interesting because we would have gotten to know Marion on a more personal level.
Little bit more.
Yeah.
And I would have liked to see her interaction with the other family members.
Yeah. Because we just got one scene with Amy.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you know that Lou and Marion are like because Lou's Tim, and I would say Amy's like her mom. So I think like Lou and Marion would butt heads.
Yeah.
And so I think that would be, just to see the dynamic of it would have been cool.
Yeah. And I think
it's not like she's gonna come back from the dead, unfortunately.
No, and time has passed, so it would have been like, okay, so Lou's 40 in this scene, but she's supposed to be a teenager or something.
Right.
And I've always kind of struggled picturing Marion and Tim together because we've never seen that, and they are kind of different. So I would have, like, I can imagine the tension and the fights and that part, but like, why did they fall in love, and what was their like relationship like that? That's also something that I would have wanted to see, and it's still one of my, like, if this show would have to have some kind of special episode, what would it be? It would, like, for me, it would be seeing like a past episode about like Marion and Tim as young people, and
right, like having a flashback.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that would be cool.
Because they could kind of get away with Sean playing a young
Yeah.
Jack, so and they
Yes.
could cast, young Tim and young Marion, kind
I
of like they
feels
did
like
with young Jack.
I feel like, I mean, with special effects and makeup, they could make Chris play young Tim. I
Yeah,
mean, because you see it on different shows all the time where they have like for example the show Suits, and they always do these flashback episodes, and you can tell that it's the same person, and they try to make them look
like
younger, whether it's like
it's
wigs
all
or makeup.
waxy.
Yes.
Yeah.
But even though I feel like it doesn't necessarily work appearance wise, I prefer it to be the original actor than to bring in somebody else.
Yeah, that's kind of like what I would prefer, but I
Yeah.
would still take, like, even if they
Yeah,
would.
take what we can get. Yeah.
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 I think it was interesting that for such a like lighthearted show, the show started off kind of scarily.
Almost dark
Yeah,
and
'cause
depressing a little bit.
I don't remember who it was, but I remember someone once told me that when they started watching, they were like, "Oh, this is scary. I don't want to watch this." And they almost gave up, but then they kind of kept going like, "Is it still that bad?" And they
Yeah.
kept going and obviously noticed that, okay, this is not
Yeah.
scary at all, but that's a very traumatic way to start the whole show, I would say.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
But I like it because it's like, okay, so what's happening? Like, who are these
Yeah.
people? Like, why is there a horse? And watching now, I think, even though Mr. Malin wasn't like good person or anything, like I think he kind of gave up Spartan quite easily.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's a family show. Like, I expected there to be something like, give me that horse and get away from me, and like some kind of physical.
For sure. But then when they brought the cops up is when he was like, oh.
Yeah.
He was like, okay, just take it.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
it is a little too easy, but yeah.
Yeah. But
then he does come back and create that chaos at the end of the season.
Yeah, well,
so
that's true. I'm glad they did that. So
yeah.
because that would have been kind of like, okay, so
and you could
really?
consider him a villain too,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. And it was interesting to see Lou back in New York because we know Jessica now, and it kind of gave it a new like layer of like, oh, is Jessica inside that building or what's happening?
Well, and then Lou's on the phone saying, no, I haven't told her yet, which I'm assuming like her boss. And I'm like, oh my God, that's Jessica.
Yeah, I was like, is it Jessica or the
what
other person?
It would be like it's literally her future stepmother.
Yeah, like it's fun to watch it back because it's like, look how far you've come, and you're like one step away from getting fired and harboring this anger to this woman that will later come back to your life and marry your dad, and like
what a full circle moment.
Yeah,
holy shit, that's insane. But that's exactly what I thought of too, because we both just thought of the same thing. But as soon as whenever she talks about New York now in season 1, I'm gonna be like, okay, she's talking about Jessica.
Yeah, when she's like Strickland and Cook, we're like, Jessica Cook.
God, I'm a dummy. I never realized that was her last name because it's Strickland and Cook, and it's Jessica Cook. Oh my God.
Well, now you know.
Dude, that's funny.
I also wrote down that I love that the credits have stayed pretty much the same. Like, what do you think? Would you prefer them to change them?
No.
They changed a couple of clips, but overall, they've been the same. And the music changed a little bit, but like just a tiny bit.
Well, I feel like because it's been interesting because of the season and because of how busy the filming industry in Alberta is, and they had to bring in a whole new younger crew, I'm assuming like fresh out of film school, is basically how they're making it seem. And so I'm interested to watch this season because you can really tell different techniques when you see them.
And to
So,
think like the technology they had back then, and
right,
now they have a lot of
right.
drone shots and everything. So
And like 4K.
yeah, and one of the things I noticed at the end of the episode, like when Amy's riding off with Spartan, I had not noticed this before, but it was clearly a stunt double.
Oh my god, I was gonna say that too. And the stunt double had brown hair. Did you see that?
So I know that these days they kind of track the stunt double's face because then they can place it with the actor's face so it looks more
technology.
like. And
It's incredible.
Speaking of technology, like Amy not having a phone and the messenger thing she was writing in with Soraya.
Oh, SMS.
Yeah.
It was probably on MySpace or something.
Yeah. Or supposed to be. But one of the technology aspects that I noticed as well, like when Lou's in the barn office going through these like papers.
Right.
Amy's there. Marion had like this old, like, what do you call it? Like really table.
Oh, I never noticed that.
I didn't notice it before, but now I was kind of paying attention to little details. And I thought that was because, they had cell phones back in 2007, obviously. But I think that was kind of a way to tell about Marion without being like too up in your face, because like
I see it. Yeah, I see it. Okay. Yes. I don't know what the name is for it, but
but like one of those where you like rotate the.
Yeah, it's a. Is it a
rotary phone? Yeah,
rotary
something
phone?
Like that. So that to me tells something about Marion. Like she probably didn't have a cell phone either. Want to be one of those people like, if I'm not there, you're not gonna like reach me.
Well, that reminds me of Jack. So I feel like they were very much alike, or
maybe even
that was
Tim, because Tim had like a calendar from 2007 on his fridge, and so they're like not, keeping up with things. And I think those are kind of cool little details that tell you something about the character. And
oh my gosh,
some of those things that you pay attention to when you've seen the episode, like
right. I have the one thing I wanted to talk about, or the one thing that came to my mind. So Jack's daughter died in this episode, and I mean, I'm just saying this, but he didn't show a lot of emotion about it.
Yeah, that's one of the things I noticed as well. But, I was thinking, okay, so he's trying to stay strong for the family, kind of like in season 14 with Tysted. But I don't remember if we ever really saw like a breakdown from him.
No.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. And it's like, I mean, obviously he was holding it together for the girls, just like you said, like he did in season 14. But in season 14, he still had like those breakdown moments, like one with Lisa and then a one with Amy when the bike, when Ty's bike,
and when he
stuff like that.
Put the hot hat on the river and stuff
like
that. So he was processing it.
He was mourning in his own way. But I'm assuming like in the Heartland universe that he did so, but we just never saw it. And I just felt like it was kind of robbing that character of something, because that was his own daughter.
Yeah, and they were like close, living together.
Right.
So,
yeah. I mean, we do get to see him continue to mourn her throughout the seasons. Like oh wait, that was Lindy. No. Season 4, episode 11, 12, when Lou wants to redo Marion's room.
Yeah.
I think we got a lot of emotion from Jack without him even doing too much. We kind of knew what he was feeling and thinking.
Yeah. that's an interesting choice that they kind of, I mean, they must have been like, okay, so what do we want to do with Jack's character? Like, do we
Right.
want to show him vulnerable because of Marion's death or not?
Right.
And I think it's interesting that they chose not to do that because,
Yeah.
I get that Jack was very close to Ty because
Right.
he always said, "You're like my son," but
Right.
Marion's your daughter.
Mm. Your
So
only daughter,
yeah.
yeah.
So, well, in a way,
That's
you
what I
could
mean.
say that maybe losing Ty was like, oh, not again. But who knows?
Yeah, that was the one thing that the one thing if I could change about it is just have like this one solo scene with Jack
Yeah,
breaking down. I mean,
maybe just wiping his eyes and like,
yeah.
I'm fine, and Lou's like, no, like we've been
Yeah.
just fighting and you've been holding it together. Like, I'm sorry, we've
And I
been
mean,
kind of.
and it seems like Lindy, his wife, passed away only shortly before his daughter. So, I mean, all those things combined.
Losing his sister, I mean, at that point, they probably
Right.
didn't know about June, but like.
Right. So maybe even at that point he had just suffered so much loss that he's like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah,
You know?
I don't even feel anything. I'm just
Yeah, because unfortunately there's so many people out there that lose a lot of people, and you see them react with such great strength because they're used to it.
Yeah,
or they've felt it before and they're like, oh, I've been here.
Yeah, that's one of the things I've actually thought about lately because one of our family members passed away not too long ago, and the way that our family kind of dealt with that, and I just kept thinking like, because there have been a lot of losses for our family during these past few years, so I kept thinking like, do people kind of get numb to it at some point? Not like they don't care, but it's just like, not again, like I can't do this again. So I do wonder if, maybe losing June and Lindy and who knows out, he might have had like important friends and who have passed away, especially like his rodeo days, like that guy who was Claire's dad and everything.
And then when Will died, like we had a lot of emotion for when Will died. So that's what I mean. Like you have all these deaths that affect Jack and we see it, but then we don't see him more in the loss of his only daughter.
I do wonder if it was like compared to losing Will, because life was kind of normal and he didn't have to worry about other people, so he had this like freedom to mourn or something. I don't know. And maybe because he was alone.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But then
that's true. Like you don't know what happens behind closed doors, even on like, I like to think that the Heartland universe is an actual universe somewhere.
I'm like, so, that must have happened. Which
was very, very heartbreaking when you go to the studio, and as much as it was such a fun experience, I'm like, it's not real.
Yeah, they go to home and not be these characters. Like,
I know there's no roof on the house. Excuse me.
Like, where's Jack's bed? Like, where does he sleep?
I know. Seeing his bedroom was just kind of like, this is a very rude awakening.
Yeah. But like, we can assume that he must have, cried.
Well, and, unfortunately, there's such a stigma around men showing emotion too, especially when it comes to around their family. So who knows?
Yeah,
and you know that Jack's father was abusive, so he was probably suppressing his emotions. I don't know.
And I remember thinking during season 14, episode 2, when Jack and Tim go to that cattle drive with Jade and Quinn.
Right.
Jack is acting kind of mean and he's kind of grumpy, and I was kind of like, I remember being surprised, but then I was like, no wait, like this is season 1 Jack, kind of like, because he was not this soft cuddly teddy bear back then. Like, he was kind of strict and but he softened up a lot.
Well, I think it's because he was like a parent at that time, right? Like he was being a parent.
Yeah. Like he can't
Yeah.
I think in a way he wanted to act like an authority and not like a friend.
Yeah. I feel like he had to, right? Because he was the
Mm.
Rock at the time. So and can obviously still now, but he's a pivotal character because he's the only, in season 1, the only like parent figure.
Yeah.
Because
Tim's not there
Tim's
and
there,
not
but he's
great.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he probably felt like he had to be, because he's like, who else is gonna do it?
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
I
if the
think
Rock falls apart, the Rock, if the Rock of
Yeah.
the Rock of the family falls apart,
Yeah.
the whole family will.
Yeah. And I think, now I want to think that maybe that was just his way to kind of keep it all in. Like, I can't
Right.
fall apart because of the girls and whatever.
Mm.
But I
And
think,
for all we know, he could have just suppressed it. He's like, I don't want to feel this, because lots of people do.
I mean, that's just a huge loss,
Yeah.
because it's like a lot of
Massive.
people say like parents are supposed to bury their children. It's like sometimes you're like, I can't deal with this kind of situation, so I'm just gonna like shut off some parts of myself in order to get by or something.
And I remember this has to do with Sean. Sean said at this Q&A once, someone asked the cast what their biggest fear was, and Sean said losing a child.
Yeah, that's just,
Yeah.
I can't even imagine. But I think it's good that they brought in Lisa, because
Right.
she was, I think, even though it wasn't like too obvious, I think Jack needed something to kind of bring in the light, because
Right.
Even though he had like Amy, Lou, and Ty and Mallory,
he's like a parent to all of them.
And even with Tim, like,
no, he was like having 5 kids.
So I think it was kind of needed for him to get a room for himself.
Yes.
Or those moments of like night
of peace and quiet.
Yeah, exactly.
And I remember, like, I think it was season 2, episode 1, when Lou wants to build the dude ranch and Jack doesn't, all this stuff. And then there's this one scene, the Jessica Steen's in, we're at Maggie's, and he's asking her, advice. And it's like, he doesn't have anyone else to do that with. At that point, it was only Lisa. Yeah. So I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, and even though Jack went to see Val in this episode, she's kind of like making moves. Like, come on, this man has just lost.
She can't read the room,
Yeah,
read the room, Val.
Yeah, so I don't think Val would have been good for the kind of like, even
though
they
Ashley.
Yeah.
Like the things that she was saying to Amy about her dead mother. I'm sorry, what?
Like, it was the saddest thing I've ever seen.
Saddest thing.
Yeah, and like, second place is not so bad.
Yeah. Like, just like roasts her dead mom and then roasts her.
Yeah.
Like, how they ever became friends is a miracle.
Yeah, but I was just about to say, I'm so glad that they didn't keep doing that for too long.
Right.
That would have gotten tired and she would have stayed very one-dimensional. But
yeah, I mean, you want to see character growth, and we did see that with Ashley a little bit.
Yeah. Then I wrote down that I miss Scott. And he's cute hair in the funeral. He was just like, he looks such a baby.
And baby Lou and Scott, be still my heart.
Yeah. One of the things back when I started to watch the show that I didn't notice was the different house setting and the different yard. Because if you didn't know, they shot the scenes with no Mallory at first back in 2006. And then they added the scenes with Mallory in 2007 because they felt like they needed someone like younger and Mallory like to kind of lighten up the mood. So
I did not know that.
Really? Yeah.
What?
Because when you look at the episode now, like
No, I know, and I know exactly
Yeah.
what you're saying because the settings are the set is all messed up, and it's
Yeah.
not Heartland. They changed it and stuff, and some of it looks like Heartland, some of it doesn't. But
Yeah.
what?
But then in the scene where Mallory comes to visit and
Right,
paying her, what is it?
right,
Condolences.
yeah,
You can see the barn and the everything we know
yeah,
now.
yeah,
But in the other scenes, it's the different ranch.
Hmm.
Completely.
So I'm assuming they filmed the pilot, and then once it got picked up, they're like, we need to change some shit here,
Yes.
and they
Yeah.
did. Okay,
Yeah.
that's very cool to
Yeah.
know.
But then there was another thing that I noticed because Apollo appears in one scene where Ashley is, walking him out, and we know it's
Right,
Apollo because in the earlier scene with Ashley and Amy, she says
right.
like, "I have this new horse, Apollo."
Apollo, right.
Yeah, and then later when Val is talking to Jack, Val says, "Just buy something nice for your girls, like I did."
Right,
It's like,
$100,000
yeah.
jumper.
So
Pocket change.
so that horse was, I think, black, but Apollo is
What?
brown
Is
and
more of a brownish color,
yeah, and
right.
he has
He
this
had
like
the mark,
yeah,
right.
because
Oh
then
my
in season 2
gosh.
Ashley notices it's Apollo in the main track because the marking.
That was a good episode. I liked Ashley in that
Yeah,
one. I
that's
like
good
when she
one.
just beats the crap out of Val's vehicle, like,
Yeah.
yes, please
So
do.
cathartic in a
Yeah,
way.
it's like, do it for me too, please. Because
Yeah.
Ashley's such a B word, but it's because of her mother.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't know any better. Her own mother's the same way.
Yeah. But it's interesting just because those kind of things you definitely don't watch when you're first getting to know the show, because
Right.
like how would you even like pay attention to
Right.
stuff like that? But then there are like weird things like, Amy has this friend Jen,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
someone once told me when I talked about this, like, where did Jen go?
Yeah.
Because they were like, no, that's Soraya, but Amy's
That's
talking
what
to
I
Soraya
thought.
with
Right.
the chat thing, and she's somewhere, I don't know, she's coming back from somewhere.
Yeah.
So clearly not the same person. But like back when I started watching, I didn't notice that they were kind of different person. I thought maybe they recast it, but now it's like
That's what I thought too. And I never even realized that she said thanks for coming over, Jen, or like she even said her name, and I'm like, I just kind of ignored it because I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know what she's saying,
Yeah,
but
like
that's
there's like too many characters to keep up with
right.
everyone.
And they look alike too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But I kept thinking that, like, why would she suddenly disappear? Because she's supposed to be Amy's friend. So what happened?
Right.
So I do like this. I have this idea, but like it's just a stretch. Like maybe she liked Jessie much better or something. Because there's that scene with her playing with the phone, and like Jessie's coming.
Like, yeah, and she seemed like such a good friend, but who knows?
Yeah. But I do wonder, like, what kind of friendship they would have had with Jen if she would have.
Right.
Yeah, because I think Soraya was much more empathetic and,
Very, very much so. Yeah, a very empathetic character.
Yeah, and she wasn't so, like, I don't know, over the top, because Jen was like kind of energetic and like, oh my god, it hasn't even.
Yeah, Soraya's on like the same like level. What's the word? They're just on the same level when it comes to, I don't know what word I'm looking for, but energy levels, I guess.
Yeah.
They're both more calm people.
Yeah. Then one of the things I noticed as well this time, because after season 11 I view it differently, but Lou goes to this bank, and there's this guy, Steve Redding, from high school So I was like, was he at the reunion? Because
Oh my god.
yeah, so it's
Yeah.
probably not, but like in Heartland universe probably was, because it seemed like Lou and
Yeah.
him got along
They were friends,
somewhat.
yeah.
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 So,
Huh, good point.
and one of the things I noticed was that the whole episode had a lot of Spartan kneeing. Nine? What? How do you say?
No, I know.
So I
It
was
was so
like, if
annoying.
someone did a drinking game, like take a shot every time,
Take a
Spartan,
horse makes noise.
yeah, he would have been dead by the end of
You'd
the
be
episode.
drunk 5 minutes
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah, but it's just like, yeah, we get it. The horse is in distress.
The horse is upset.
Yeah, like,
Oh, I know.
but it's just like maybe they just wanted to kind of emphasize that, he's not
unhappy.
pleased. Yeah. But speaking of horses and sounds, I know the scene with Spartan and Amy in the ring is like iconic, the connection. But I've never been a fan of yelling at the horse. Like, I know you blame me.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
I don't think that's the way. Like, I understand why Amy is doing it. Like, she needs this outlet.
She's getting her anger out. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I can kind of see what they were trying to do with it. Like, Amy being like this sad person and Spartan kind of getting it. But like, I don't know if that would actually work. Like, if you yell at the horse, like, I don't think he would come to you.
Like,
I'm no horse expert, but
that's a very good point. No, that's a very good point.
Then there's like in season 6 after Georgie has the fire thing, right? Phoenix, like kind of the same thing. And that
did she yell at him then too?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think Alicia's acting is great, and I think it's an emotional scene and kind of works, but at the same time I'm kind of like, I don't know if you should do that.
Yeah, honestly, that would be a good question to ask Amber.
Yeah, like, would you yell at your horse if you wanted to join up with him?
Yeah. Well, I feel like at that point she wasn't a part of the production team. I think that was season 11 or something. So who knows?
And I know it's a drama and things need to happen to be kind of
that's a good point to make.
Emotional, but it's just one of those things that I'm kind of like, oh, okay. Like, I would imagine that maybe some horse people would find that annoying. You wouldn't do that.
Ask Lena about that one, actually.
But I've kind of given them some slack with that department. Like, I don't know if horse would always do those things they do, and like, but it's kind of like a fantasy in the way these horses know what to do. And
I mean, we'd have to ask a horse whisperer, because I feel like some people really can connect with animals on a deeper level than other humans.
Yeah, definitely. And then I wrote down when after Amy connects with Spartan, Jack is outside with her and he's like, I'm proud of you, and like, and then her friends come over and he's like, you should go. And I'm like, is this the first time Jack has actually allowed Amy to go somewhere that's kind of like, I don't know, dodgy, because of there's
15.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was doing that at 15, but my parents didn't know.
That
was different.
That's the thing, like, you don't do that while your parents know. But, or maybe this is the reason he's like, you're never going anywhere.
Right, but that also reminds me of Georgie, when Lou started to let Georgie go to these parties, and then you would see Jade just like chug. I don't even remember what that thing. Yeah. What was she doing in that like season 10 episode when she has the funnel?
Yeah. And
I don't remember what it's called. It's been a long time. And then Georgie's just standing there watching her like, I don't know. I'm not a parent. I don't know what I would do with my child at that age.
Yeah.
But like, what do you think? Like
I mean,
at that age, I was doing that stuff, but are you supposed to?
the thing is, like, well, probably not if you ask your parents.
Fair
But, like,
enough.
you know, if you watch it from the perspective of a teenager, like,
Right,
you know, you want to
right,
be where your friends are and everything. But
right,
it's interesting because, you know, that was in season 10, and then in season 9, you know, Georgie runs away, and they have
right,
this kind of, I don't know, trust issues with Lou and Georgie because of it, and the whole thing around it, like, because she was trying
right.
to sneak off to Jasper or something with the bigger girls. And then, you know, next season you have like Georgie at Jade's place, you know. She wasn't
Right.
drinking, but, like,
No.
you know, parents worry the influence, and
Right.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
A couple of episodes ago, or actually last episode, I think we talked about, did Amy and Jesse actually date? And
I was gonna bring
confirmed
this up. Yes.
they broke up, so I guess they dated.
Right. As soon as I saw that, like, oh, had something with a huge fight with Jesse. No,
Yeah.
broke up with Jesse.
Yeah,
Something
bad
like
day.
that. Oh, yeah. So they did. They were dating.
I didn't really remember if Jesse was Amy's age, but apparently he's older, I think, because
Probably. I'm thinking
yeah,
like she
'cause
would be a freshman. He'd be like a senior or
yeah,
something.
because aren't Ashley and Amy
Right.
the
They're
same
supposed to be a
age?
close same
So
age, if not.
unless they're like twins,
Right. Right.
yeah.
So
So
yeah, I would just say he was like a senior. And
yeah,
I mean, I don't think that would be considered inappropriate because they're both in high school, and I'm
yeah.
assuming
I'm
he'd be
like,
more like 17 than 18.
I'm checking, like, when do you
But
get license in Alberta? Because
14.
I was thinking that because when Jesse has had something to drink, and Amy's like, great,
Right.
like, how do I get home now? So
Right.
he has a car. And, you know,
But
we
she,
see him driving earlier, even. So,
right. And she doesn't get her license until season 2. So she was just probably late. Well, maybe they changed the laws, you know what I mean? Because now it's 14, but who knows what it was 15 years ago.
yeah, I mean,
I don't
you
know.
know, Amy doesn't have. Oh, true.
Because why is she getting her drivers in season 2 if she's old enough to drive in season 1?
Yeah, or was it
So,
one of those Jack things, like, you're not driving before you're
right, or she didn't want to, or she didn't feel ready, or whatever. Because
yeah.
I waited like it was like 18 when I got my full license because I was like,
Yeah,
whatever.
and Lou drove her to school, and
Right, right.
yeah. What do you think about, you know, Amy fixing Spartan in just one episode? Like, do you think it was too quick, or do you think that in a way it was needed to kind of get the audience hooked to kind of see like what's gonna happen?
Right. I think that obviously it's part of the Heartland magic. I realistically, could that happen? I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't know.
because, you know, that's a
I'm
big
not a horse
phobia.
whisperer,
Yeah,
but
I mean, we see Spartan having a problem with trailers down in
right,
the next episode.
right.
Like, you know, just I was like, even though I know that he was okay to ride, I was like, ooh, when Amy was saddling him.
Right. And why did he at least I mean, okay, so in my head they just have this incredible connection and that's why that happened. Realistically, I feel like it would have been a little more of a struggle to get him tacked up and things for his first ride.
Yeah.
Not saying that after she gets on that, okay, he's good, but at least it's like a little bit of a struggle or something
Yeah,
to make.
like, I understand that they kind of wanted to speed the process because, you know, but at the same
Yeah,
time,
for the pilot, they want to do something big, I guess.
yeah, like, it's a lot to ask from an audience to kind of be like, okay, so they had this one scene in the pen and now they're fine.
Well, that reminds me of the scene when we like season 9 or whatever when Mitch first comes in and then he leaves and then his horse like breaks out and chases him. would that happen?
Yeah.
That was one of those
I mean,
cheesy
that's
moments. I was
yeah.
like,
yeah, like it's cute, but also like yeah. But it's just one of those things like
It's the Heartland magic, I guess.
yeah, it's the fantasy element. I think when you take consideration of like what the start point for the episode was, I think it was done well. It wasn't like too depressing or like I don't know, heavy, but still respectful to Marion.
Right.
Because overall there was a lot of drama and beautiful shots and there's conflict, but also like humor, and the characters were good and the charm was there, and
yeah,
I think they did a lot of things right.
Well, clearly they did because it got picked up. So
Yeah,
who directed it? Was it Dean?
Yeah, Dean. No. And I think
did he?
Yeah, he did. I remember there's even these pictures from set that Michael
Oh my
Weinberg
god,
posted.
right.
Yeah. And I think it said additional scenes by Ron Murphy, like maybe he did those Mallory scenes.
Right. So does Dean still direct? I don't think so.
I think he did.
He retired. No, he's a producer now.
Yeah, but I think he did season 14 finale last year.
Okay, I'm gonna check.
Yeah,
because he would be like, he's literally an OG.
Yeah, like it's funny that you're on the topic because the last thing I have written down is that I actually watched the credits to see if there were a lot of same people still involved, because obviously Dean is still around, and the cast obviously as well, but then 14-15 years is a long time to work on one show, and especially because Alberta is kind of big thing in like Hollywood to film these like movies where you have like beautiful scenery and stuff like that. So I was like, maybe they went somewhere else, but there were a lot of familiar names there.
Yeah,
working on the show.
Showed me the picture you sent me yesterday. It was like,
yeah, because they had like still photographer Andre Paco, or I don't know how you say the
I
last
call
name.
it Paco. I don't.
Yeah,
I apologize.
And
Rip, and I apologize.
Yeah, like we talked about him in our first episode, I think.
Yeah. I believe so.
So he passed away earlier this year. So it was kind of like almost like this time capsule of these people that we come to kind of get to know, even though we don't know them obviously, but still kind of get to know by name and kind of what they do and their work. I love that it's not just the family on the screen, but behind the camera as well.
Yeah, like I think of Wayne a lot too, because I believe he was script supervisor since day one.
Yeah, I think he was as well.
But yeah, you're right. Dean did direct the season 14 finale.
Yeah, but he doesn't do a lot of directing anymore. But
no, but I believe he's a producer now.
Yeah. So I think that's his main focus. But I think he must still miss directing. So
yeah, he is a producer. I just checked.
Yeah, I do wonder if he's directing this season. Season 15. But I think it was fun to watch the first episode and see where it all started, especially after, season 14, where things are somewhat different, but also not.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, even though it didn't impress me much back in the day, now I look at it very differently and appreciate it.
Right. For different reasons.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
So it's sometimes good to go back and see where it all started, because a lot of
And I
things have
just-
happened, and there have been ups and downs with us in the show, and
Yeah.
we're still here.
We still love it.
If you want to comment, like, what do you think about the episode? Like,
Of the premiere, yeah.
yeah, like do that on YouTube or on our
Please.
Instagram, and
If there's anything that we missed about it, or if there's something else that you noticed that we didn't, please
yeah,
tell us.
or like your favorite scenes or moments or
Mm.
whatever. Like, it's fun to kind of look to the past, even though, you know, we have a 15 years worth of material to
No
talk about,
way.
but like, because
Just imagine how overwhelming that is for someone who just comes in now, like, oh my god.
yeah, because like obviously we talk about the latest seasons when we're
Right.
you know doing
Mm.
these because
That's
it's
yeah.
fresh, but like
Right.
it's fun to kind of remember the older episodes as well, especially with new perspective. And
Right. We should do all of the premieres. We should
yeah,
review all of the premiere episodes. Because then that gives me an excuse to go back and watch them.
yeah, yeah, true. And then it's nice to kind of know, like, or see where the characters are at the
Right.
beginning of each season. So
And I love Ty in season 2.
yeah,
I kind of like he's hilarious in the premiere though, and he just shows up.
yeah, like
With the babes. Like what?
yeah, I was like,
Who said
asked?
that?
Yeah,
Right? Like,
I was
and then I was
embarrassed
also
for him, but like,
I know, secondhand embarrassment. Well, you know what else I was thinking about? Jack's mustache. It looks so real. Was it
yeah,
real? Do you know?
I don't know, but I don't think so, because
And then the season 2 mustache is awful in my opinion, like so awful. But
you
the season 1,
you would imagine that for the pilot, like Sean must have been like, slap
I,
it something on,
I
like.
yeah, it looks so good though. But season 2, it looked pretty bad in my opinion.
Oh, I don't remember the. It's like
a
caterpillar.
Yeah,
Yeah, true. Yeah,
Jinx.
it's like a little calm. You
Yeah.
used to brush your hair.
Yes, I very much enjoy the real mustache.
Yeah.
Now.
But even the like styles, how they've evolved and how they
Right.
kind of built the characters over the
Well,
years, like styles and
Right.
like manners and just things like that.
Right. And like Amber's hair too. It's like the strawberry blonde. And
Yeah.
I mean, I think she's probably the only character on the show who hasn't had like a color change. Like I don't know if she gets highlights or whatever.
She
but like
does, because I
yeah.
remember that she didn't like when it was kind of written in their contract that she couldn't change her hair that much, or they wanted to keep it blonde. And I think, I don't know if I'm making this up or what it was, but it was appealing to the American audience.
Her hair?
Yeah, if it was blondier. I don't know. Maybe it's that like blonde girl thing.
Well, it was season 5 when it drastically changed, in my opinion. Like she cut it, and it looked a lot blonder.
Yeah. So
is that the season you're talking about when
I don't know, like
changed?
I don't remember what season it was when she made that comment, but over the years it has gotten a little lighter, and now it's back to
it is darker.
Yeah.
I'd really like to know though how, like, going through the seasons, which seasons her hair is like her natural color.
Yeah, I would say maybe like the first season, I would guess, is more.
Yeah. But season 14, it looks so natural. I feel like that's Amber's natural color.
That's true.
I don't know. Like, I assume that she doesn't get anything done to her hair, but like, I probably does.
Yeah, like, Carrie gets haircuts at the set, and
right, and they make him shave and stuff too. Yeah.
So they do have some say in their styles.
Oh, I remember, like, that's what Kevin when I met Kevin McGarry on set, he's like, "Oh, I'd love to stay and chat, but I gotta go and fix this," because he had to go and shave because he was all scruffed. And at the time, he was a naked baby.
Yeah, but like back in season 11, was it? When Ty's buying that new truck. Yeah, I think it was.
Right.
He had the beard. And I remember the
right.
fandom went crazy for that.
So, like in a good way?
Yeah. I was like,
okay.
keep it. But,
Oh,
you
I
know,
don't
he
remember
didn't.
that. Okay.
Yeah. So, I don't know, like, why do they insist on them all shaving? Because, you know, not all men shave it. Like,
well, and why did they constantly change Chris's hair? Like, he's had, like, the most color changes on this show.
yeah. And it's funny you bring that up because I always think, like, would Tim be this
No, I know.
insane that he would go to hairdressers? Is
Because
like,
obviously he
add some
would.
highlights.
Yeah. Because he's gone from, he's had, like, blondish hair, and then, like, season 7, it was brown.
And they were
And it
like
kind of,
reddish tone at one
yeah,
point.
it was, like, almost, like, orange-ish at one point, and I'm like, huh? Like, come on.
Yeah, well, like I would
But, like,
assume that.
obviously they were dyeing it because he's gray, but why wouldn't they just stick with the same color?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I would imagine that Tim was actually like, just cut something off and I'm good.
Yeah, it goes to the. Can you just imagine Tim at the salon?
Yeah, like, oh, you can style it. Like, do what you want.
First
and the
choice
hairdresser is like, how about we add some highlights? And he's like, oh yeah, do it.
So interesting enough. So Chris is what, 61? We found that out. So Michelle Nolan's 48. I always assumed they were
Lisa thing.
Interesting. I don't know. Sometimes I just find this weird stuff. Oh, she has 3 kids.
Yeah, I know that she had kids, but I didn't know like too much because I haven't really like searched her like personal stuff.
Interesting. I was just wondering how old she is.
Yeah, but it's gonna be interesting to see that what happens in season 15 and how everything develops.
There's gonna be so much good stuff. Like the wedding, Katie, Amy punching the guy who killed her husband. I don't know, like stuff like that. I'm so
speculations.
Yeah, but we're so right all the time, though.
Yeah, but we have.
I don't know. Watch us be wrong about this, just because I said
humble,
that.
so people don't be like, "Oh, these girls."
But like, yes, very humble. But they make it so easy to find this stuff out, though. They post pictures on the internet, and we just figure it out.
Yeah, it's like just
they
happens,
need to.
like...
You need to. They gotta keep us humble by stop posting stuff. If they stop posting stuff, we won't figure it out, and then they'll keep us humble.
Yeah. Yesterday, it was the anniversary of me going to Canada. Like
the 2018 trip.
Yeah.
Or the 2016.
The latest trip, 3 years ago. So.
Oh, that was chaotic.
Yeah, I might tell the story about that.
I was just gonna say, do you feel like telling the story?
Sometime in the future.
Dude, it's so traumatic. It's so traumatic. Like, it took literally like over a year for me to get over that. And I don't know if you're over it, but
like I might not do the bad parts, but like,
dude, you should. Just don't name names.
Yeah, I mean, I'll see.
You could just like sum it up.
I mean,
just sum it up in a quick sentence of what happened.
It wasn't like a bad trip, but there's a lot of stuff that I'm like, wow.
Okay, you can say that it was bad because a lot of it was.
No, but it was also fun because we went to canoeing.
We had fun.
You
Dude, the canoeing was so much fun.
Yeah, I might post a video from that.
Oh my god, please do.
If I can find
I miss it so much.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I don't know what's gonna be happening for the next episode. By the time you see this, we should have it figured out. But
yeah, but in case things don't work out, I'm just gonna tell the story of my trip.
Yes. And bring tissues. Dude, I remember like we were like had the group chat at that time with quite a few of us, and you're like telling us what happened, and everyone's losing their minds. Like Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. And we were, because I lived in Alberta at the time and you were staying in Canmore, so we lived like 10 minutes apart for a little
Yeah,
bit, which was insane.
it was a good thing you were actually like based there in a way, because you know that helps a
Well,
lot.
I literally came over that night because,
And we gave you the wine.
yeah, you gave me a whole bottle of wine and I chugged that bad boy.
Yeah, because we were staying at this Airbnb thing, and the owner had left us
It was a
wine,
really nice place.
and I
Yeah.
don't drink alcohol, and my sister
Mhm.
doesn't drink wine, so we were like, let's just give it to Izzy. I mean,
Yay. Oh, I drank that whole thing.
yeah.
It
So
was a very rough year. I was probably drunk for most of it,
yeah,
as you know.
not a good Heartland
It
year
was very
either.
heartbreaking. Yeah, it was heartbreaking, literally.
Mm.
Didn't you feel it? Like my chest literally hurt because I was so heartbroken. I
Yeah,
was like,
like
this hurts.
yeah, and I remember actually writing a blog post about it, and I think it said something like "I'm heartbroken" or something. I don't know,
That was
something
iconic
dramatic.
and it got so much attention.
Yeah,
And if it wasn't for that, nothing would have been done about it.
yeah, and it wasn't like for like look at me attention or anything
Yeah,
like that. It was just because I was having a lot of like mixed emotions. So
right.
because I post daily on the blog, I wanted to explain like in
Yeah,
case I'm not gonna feel off, doing
yeah.
normal stuff, just know that like I'm
Yeah,
trying
we
to kind
stopped
of
doing
figure
Heartland stuff for a little bit because it was just really sad.
yeah, you know,
You'll hear the story soon
yeah,
enough when
yeah.
Soile's healed enough to tell it.
Yeah. But until next week, we'll figure something out, and
Yes.
please promise us to keep your nose clean.
And your powder dry and away from children. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.